Hi, and welcome to this week's episode hosted by Gray and Mark Law of St John's Health and Fitness and Mark Elm of Leeds Beckett University, where we take training theory and science onto the gym floor.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Yorkshire Fitness Podcast. Here we are again. Alright El, alright Matt?
Yeah. What
Now
episode
then.
is it?
Now,
What is it?
What
episode
this is
is
now
it, Matt?
episode 8.
Is it? Right.
So really quickly, we'll just crack on. We'll not back. We've got a completely new subject today. I know last week we went back over our habits, which was kind of like a second episode of an early episode podcast. So today we're going to talk about supplements. This has been requested from one of our members, Von. So nice one, Von. This is quite interesting. So one of his members who comes, she were asking us if we could broach the subject of supplements and what's rubbish, basically. What out there in the world is just complete rubbish that we do not need to take. As we always talk about, social media is filled with all sorts of rubbish out there, isn't it? I mean, there is some good stuff, but there's also lots of nonsense claiming supplements do this, supplements do that, and we have always kind of pushed the whole food generally. You should always try to get as much goodness as you can from your food, shouldn't you?
Yeah.
Kind of what we've always worked with, remember. So we thought, what a great subject. So we've just dived straight in and we thought we'd discuss it. Obviously, using his good mate Elm, who's here with us, using his sciencey background to talk about the supplements even deeper, and just kind of what's right and wrong. So I'll start us off really quick with a question. I'm going to fire over to you, Elm. Firstly, what are supplements? For somebody who's just kind of not really know, what do we class as a supplement?
Well, I mean, there are lots of different types of supplements, but if I had to kind of narrow down to what a supplement generally is, so basically it's anything that you want to take in as part of your diet that isn't food. That for me is what would be a supplement. So if it's food and drink, that's part of your ongoing diet. If it's anything like a powder or a tablet or something like that, that for me would be a supplement. I think there's a bit of a grey line when we start to get down the bars route. So like a protein bar, is that food or is that a supplement? It's a bit of a grey area, that one. Personally, I think it would be a supplement, but then if you are having a flapjack, that's a bar as well. So I think there's a bit of a grey area. I can see why people might get confused if they're having a supplement or not having a supplement. But for me, if it's food, that's part of your diet. If it's a shake or a tablet or something like that, that will be a supplement.
Yeah, so you can't see it straight away. You can see the confusion, can't you? Because like you said, that from a supplement company, let's call it a supplement company, might advertise protein bars as supplements. There's protein powder, then there might be caffeine, there might be creatine. There's lots of different things. There's BCAAs. Oh my God, it is quite endless. There's pre-workouts. It is endless, the amount of supplements out there. So this is probably what we need to try and simplify in it for people. Let them know what actually is a supplement, what are the benefits, what is the supplement actually supposed to do? That's what we can kind of sort of discuss today.
Yeah.
You've got to answer that, Mark.
No, you covered it. Yeah, all good.
Cool. So when we just mentioned then about food first, we've all just been online a little bit just before I just chime. It's something we always discuss with members. We get quite a lot of questions, like, oh, do I need to take protein? Do I need to take creatine? Because there's lots of, it's out there in the public eye now, isn't it? It's so easy. Everybody's on Instagram, everybody's on Facebook. There's constantly, so if you talk about supplements with your mate, you go on Facebook 10 minutes later, an hour later, and a supplement company will generally flash up in your newsfeed. It's that scary. So we're just open to it. So it is a confusing matter. So we need to kind of discuss the food thing first and what vitamins, what kind of supplements are an addition to what food. So let's say protein, for example. So a protein shake is a supplement, is an addition to a protein, a food in it, Elm. That's what you were just saying. So if you are not getting a protein in your diet from your chicken, or if you're just struggling to hit your protein intake, which is really important, which we've already discussed, a protein shake can be important. But we can talk about them like as vitamins and minerals from as fruits and veg first, can't we? As food as a whole.
Well, we were just on about that one. So me and Mark, when you had to rush off, you had an engagement or whatever you want to call it.
I just need a toilet.
So we were on about the different things. So and we were talking about proteins. Now, obviously, if you can get it from your food, that's all well and good, because there's loads of other benefits from getting your protein from your food. Because it's not just when we have protein, it's not we're eating food, aren't we? So you're getting loads of other little macros or micronutrients from your protein. You don't just eat a piece of meat because it's just protein. It's got loads of other things in there with it. So your ideal point is then, but it's really, really hard to get you to hit your protein target if you are trying to go like food only, aren't you? Because it's a lot of chicken, it's a lot of fish, it's a lot of eggs, it's so you're constantly having to think. Where I was saying, like I have the protein powder in the porridge every morning. I know that's meal done, my meal done, that's sorted. I know you move on to the next one. So there's a massive place for it, but if you can get it and you can be prepared enough and a bit of variation in your diet, then you can get it, can't you?
Yeah, I think you really.
And also, sorry, you could talk. Yeah, your point as well.
So you really good point there, Matt, about kind of hitting your protein goals, your calorie goals. So if we go back to our calorie counting episode, which was episode 6, which is for people who are just starting out on the journey. If you don't have a calorie goal or a protein goal or carbs or a fats goal, you haven't constructed your diet in terms of what you want to intake into your body, there's absolutely no need to chase down the supplement route, because you don't know what your diet is providing, what it isn't providing. You don't know where it's deficient or where it's kind of over surplus. You just don't know. So the thought of starting a diet and then immediately going out and buying a supplement or whatever variety is like far too many steps down the line. You've got to first of all work out what is my diet currently providing me, and is that okay? Is that not okay? Is it the right proportions or the right content, but just too much of it or too little of it? And can I get where I need to be by just eating the foods that I'm eating? So I think that's the first part, is like, you need to know what you need to know. And supplements may have absolutely no value to you whatsoever until you've looked at your diet, and then you've sat down with somebody like yourselves or myself or a dietitian, a registered dietitian or something like that, and gone, right, this is where we need to be. This is what your diet needs to have in it. And then we can start having the conversation about, is food first the only option, or do we have to think about where supplements can fill a need or solve a problem that we might not be able to solve with food? But if you don't know any of that, don't go to the supplement shop, because it's not for you. You don't need that. You're solving a problem you haven't identified yet. I had a conversation with somebody the other day who's only just started. It hasn't even gone down to the gym, nothing like that yet, and got like the ultimate mass gainer 2000. Like going, there's like 1,000 calories in a scoop, and you probably need to have 1,500 calories a day. But I know why. Right, you just said it there. It's like popular. It's put out there. The marketers know what they're doing. The supplement industry is a multi-billion-pound industry. They know what they're doing. They will sell you the dream. They'll sell you the picture on the bottle or the tub or whatever it is, and going, if you want to look like that or play like this or train like that, you need this product. And you need this product to start. I'm like, no, you don't. You just need to work out if you're eating enough food or not. And then if you are eating food, are you eating the right types of food? After you've gone through that process, then it's time to think about where the supplements fit into the bigger picture. And they can have a place. They can have a place, but it's a second or third step down the line. So that was what I was saying there. I don't know if that fits in with what you were going to say.
Yeah, I think we'll go, because some of that, as we've just been chatting there, I've just been thinking about stuff like there's obviously supplements from a health related point of view, isn't there?
Yeah,
we can discuss. We are going to take this matter further as well, aren't we? We've already decided that there's no way we can cover, because we are going to try and keep all this podcast maximum 40 minutes, not because of it, just because we just find it easier for people to tune in, get through one podcast at a time. So but there will definitely be more than one episode at least on this. So there's obviously health related supplements in there, things like the vitamin D we were chatting about earlier, the multivitamins, and then there's the exercise supplements. So from an average person point of view, with no deficiencies in anything, like you've just said, what could be the benefits? I'll go back to you, Elm, again. What could be the benefits to an average person who's starting working out, and who really, like you said, sometimes they might have seen and thought, I need to get my brain, if it's going to if I really want to buy into this system of change, starting exercise routine like this person who just spoke to, what could they get and what will benefit them, just from a general health point of view?
So from a general health point of view, there's only two things I think I'd really kind of say that most people can take and have no ill effects from and some health benefits from. So that the first one would be vitamin D. I think generally, we're just talking about there. Most people in Northern Europe don't get enough sun exposure. So vitamin D is something that we can create internally if our skin is exposed to sunlight. Yeah. So it isn't just enough to be in the sunlight. We have to have skin exposure as well. So we don't have enough skin exposure in sunlight. Now, we live in Northern England. We don't get that. That's a given. So I think anybody can take vitamin D and would see is a different one, would have health benefits. Whether they see it or not, I don't know, but they would have some health benefits from that. And the other one would be a multivitamin. And again, you have to be careful with them because some people have all the vitamins they need from their food. But if they're getting like fresh, organic food and they're cooking it immediately and it's not overcooked, they probably do have those nutrients from those foods in their diet. But what happens is when we get processed foods or foods that we stored for a long time or are not organic, they come out of the ground or in the field, wherever it is they've come from, and run around barring, and then somebody kind of processes them and they lose their nutrients. So yes, that food initially had all the micronutrients that we need, our vitamins and minerals that we need, but the process of collating it, storing it, cooking it, digesting it, by the time it gets into our bloodstream, it probably has lost some of those. So having a multivitamin, I think for most people would fill a bit of a gap that they may not realize they have. And I think that is as much as it needs to get.
Cool. That's a good, simple start isn't it, really? Because most people will know. Most people, if they're truthful to themselves, they will know whether they're getting enough vitamins and minerals. Like you've just said, if you are getting your fresh veg on a daily, if you are hitting your fruit and veg amounts, what is it? What's the actual amount? Isn't it 11 or 12 portions a day? But the government guideline is 5 because they think 5 might be realistic to people. Yeah. But you need a lot, don't you? You need to be eating a lot of fruit and veg. So probably, I'm going to throw this out, probably about 90% of the population are not getting enough fruit and veg. They will be not be getting enough vitamins and minerals from their food. That's my honest intake. That's my. I don't think we do, and we consciously try to eat like quite well, and I still think we could eat more.
Yeah, and even if you do eat the right volume of fruit and veg, it's the cooking and processing that it goes through. Like, we don't really know how much of the nutrients you started off with have actually entered into your body. And then we get into weird things like gut microbiome, which is about how the gut digests it and reabsorbs those nutrients. So just because it's got into the food when it first came out of the ground, we don't really know just exactly how much that gets into your body. But if you take a multivitamin, we are much more controlled to make sure that we've got the recommended daily amount that we need to maintain optimal functioning. So I think that's a bit of a fail safe there, that if I don't see a huge amount of, a multivitamin is not going to kind of make you toxic. It's not going to give you so much that you're going to have too much, but it's going to make sure you hit the minimum.
Yeah. As long as I suppose, I think all the multivitamins and the vitamin D, they tell you how much to take as well, don't they? Yeah. You know, like it's take 1 tablet or take 2 tablets or 3. As long as you're not overdosing on them and firing loads of time, you're thinking you need extra, you're probably not going to be far off, are you?
Yeah, I think a 1 a day thing, you're fine.
Yeah. Hope to add to that, Matt. Yeah. So going on from that then, cool, that's good, that help, I like that. So that's just a nice simple one for anybody listening. Chances are there's probably room for, and the good thing about them is they're really cheap, aren't they? Yeah. The cheap, a lot of supplement companies, like we were just saying, you just mentioned, it's a multi-million pound goddamn business, isn't it? You know what I mean? And some of them are really expensive. But they don't have to be. Generally, the ones that we actually need are not expensive.
No, not at all.
So there's so many people wasting a lot of money on supplements that they just do not need to take.
So then
squared.
Do we move on to then? If people start training and they're looking at the diet and then they get told about the recommended protein intake and they've broken it down, and you start looking and they realise how much, which is like what we've been saying, that the reason why we have a protein shake. We could talk about why you would need a protein shake, couldn't we? Yeah.
And why
Do
you
you
don't
think?
need a protein shake as
Or
well.
why you don't need it? Or
yeah.
why you don't need a protein?
Let's-
All right.
so-
Yeah. Sorry, I probably worded that wrong. Why you could need a
Yeah,
protein
Let's
shake.
talk about protein.
Yeah. Yeah. Wrong word there. Why you could need a protein shake. Let's start with protein because it's a big part of us diets in it that we do recommend that it's massively important for people looking to change the body composition, and we've said that before, haven't we? When you're restricting calories and stuff, so it plays a massive role for people, doesn't it? And the thermogenic effect of it, Mark, we talked about before. So all these different things that we've talked about regarding protein. So it makes sense that we talk about
Definitely. Yeah.
the protein one first, doesn't it? Or touch on it, especially.
I think with when we get past those kind of two health ones, I kind of have a bit of an approach, which is what problems does my diet interaction with my life create? Can I solve that with food, or does it need to be solved with a supplement? So typically, let's take the general population client who is going to work and then may come straight from work to the gym, then going home, have kids. So they have a busy life. It's really simple for us to sit back in our chairs as sports scientists, nutritionist trainers, and going, eat food, you must eat food first, food will solve the problem. And I know plenty of people have had that kind of train track kind of approach. You can do everything you need with food. There's no reason why you can't do this with food. Like, well, that's true, but that's not real life in a lots of times where you can't cook, process, digest, eat, sit down, prepare everything, and do all the things that you want to do. So supplements can sometimes fix a problem, not in the best way. We still think food is the best way, but it's like the next best way. So if you know that your client is coming to you straight from work and hasn't eaten something for 6 hours, is a protein shake the best solution in that scenario than not having something at all, or having a chocolate bar and a packet of crisps or something like that?
Yeah,
it probably is. It probably is.
Yeah.
It's moving them towards the protein goal, and it's not unhealthy like some of the quick grab options. Like if you're hungry and tired, you're going to go. We talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks in the habits one. If you're hungry and tired, you're not going to go for the healthy stuff. You're going to go for the crap because that's what your brain's telling you to go for. Yeah. But if you can chuck a protein shake in your bag and just have that on the way to the gym, knowing that you have your meal and all the good nutrients when you get back, well, I have no issue with that whatsoever. It's solving a problem that food is not realistically practical to solve. So I think there's opportunity there.
It's convenience of a minute. The convenient, aren't they? In a busy lifestyle, they're a convenient thing to have. Like I say, you can, it's 2 scoops of protein and water or milk, wherever you're going to have it, where you shake it up and it's there in it. You've done. That's it. You can move on. Whereas, like you said before, then you're calling at a petrol station and you're looking around and you're grabbing shit. So it's
and let's be honest, we're talking about most people there, aren't we?
Well, we're all the same.
We are exactly. I know for a fact I'll just say me because I don't know you're the same, but I need a protein shake if I'm going to get anywhere near my amount of protein. And it gets me through the day because we're starting work at 7 o'clock in the morning. Generally, we go from 7 till 12 without a break. From 7 till 8, 8 till 9, 9 to 10, 11 till 12 o'clock. You might just run in here to the kitchen and throw a protein shake down you to put you on till after dinner because we break at 12, keep till like a dinner hour. In that hour, we need to train and eat before his afternoon starts again. So without a protein shake, we would be a million miles off. So we can't start telling people, you need to get your protein, like if you're trying to, meet everything that we need to meet that we were discussing a couple of weeks ago, we'd just be hypocrites if we weren't doing what we've told people. Like you said, we tell people to plan ahead. If you need to take a protein shake to work with it, because you're not going to have a chance to eat, take a protein shake with you and it will help you get through the day. So we 100% rely on them. Yeah,
the other scenario that me and Matt were just talking about there is where you've got, and this is those 2 or 3 steps ahead that we spoke about a few minutes ago, is where you know that you've got a protein goal to hit within a calorie goal. So yes, we can all have a massively high protein intake by eating all sorts of meats, but that's going to throw up our fat content typically, unless we eat like literally a whole chicken every day. because that's one of the few ways we can get high amounts of protein with low fat. But like I say, who's going to eat a whole chicken every day? I probably could give it a good go. But we don't want to just eat that and the same thing. So if you're eating like these high amounts of protein or fish, or whatever it is, that's going to come with some other calories attached to that. And they are benefits. There's benefits to that. But actually trying to hit a protein goal and a calorie goal, either to try and lose a little bit of weight or maintain weight, that's actually quite difficult to do, having like what we call the food matrix. Like I say, protein doesn't come on its own. It comes with other nutrients with it. So yes, we'd have our basic diet that is, if I were trying to do that with, say, 2,500 calories, 2,000 to 2,200 of my calories need to come from food. And that should be the case. But if I need to get an extra 40, 50 grams of protein, and I've only got 300 grams left to do that, again, I'm presented with a problem. So food can't solve that problem, but a protein shake could.
Yeah.
Now, I could say, quite glib, right, oh, you just got to refine your diet. Well, I like certain foods, I don't like other foods. I have a certain amount of time, I don't have a lot of time. So, like, again, my life provides me problems. Some of it's in my own creation. I don't like foods that are nice for me, and I do like foods that aren't nice for me. So, again, I could fight that, or I can go, well, I can have a reasonably good diet and a protein shake. And that's real life. And I can stick to that, I can adhere to that. And over a period of time, it will work for me. And that's the thing, it will work for me. If I went for this kind of really strict food only approach, I might do it for a day, 2 days, maybe a week, then the wheels will fall off because it's not fit for me. Now, I can't go the other way around and just hit protein shakes for everything. And the other one is meal replacements. I really don't think they're a good solution. I think they're very expensive, full of all sorts of things I probably don't want to put in my body, and not solving a problem in a sustainable way, because you're just kind of saying, because people can't do it forever. Like, what happens when you stop the meal replacements? What happens then? You're going back to exactly the thing that got you in trouble in the first place.
This is what we've had with a lot of people before, and with because we've already agreed that we're not going to mention names of any. Not that we're big enough to start getting sued or all like that. I don't think we're going to cause any. But they go on to them and they swear blind that these things work, and they go, yeah, but it worked last time. But you're going back. You're not sorting out. So it's your habit. You know, we keep referring back, don't we? So it goes back to your habits then. So what do? You go back. You haven't changed your habits. You haven't changed your lifestyle. So you go back to what you were doing before. So you go back to the weight comes back on. You don't. So if you can make it so that a protein shake helps just as part of your new way of doing things, then it's more sustainable in it, which is exactly what we want people to do, don't we? We want people to stick to long term. We don't want quick fixes for people where they come for 8 weeks, we lose them for 6 months, they come back for another 8 weeks and lose them for 6. We want people to come and stay and in 12 months' time be healthier and in better shape than what they were when they first started.
I think Mark, last week you mentioned, or the week before, like the 80-20 rule. Like if 80% of your diet is really, really good, and the other 20% of your diet or calories come from shakes or protein or supplements or whatever it happens to be, well, that's an okay balance. Yes, in an ideal world, it'd be 100% from food, but we don't live in an ideal world. We don't live in this kind of utopian society where people provide us our nutritious meals that are exactly to our taste, to our lap, whenever we want them. It's not like that. So how do we kind of navigate through the crap that we've got to deal with and still have good nutrition? Well, 80% of my food is really good food, and it delivers the calories and the nutrients that I need. And then to fill that 20% gap, right, what's the best fit for me given the time I've got? It might be a supplement, and if that's okay, brilliant. And then just try and make some more informed, good choices about how and why you get that particular supplement.
Right. So we know where we are with protein a bit. So I think I'm just thinking of time now, and I'm thinking like
5 minutes.
If we've got another 5 minutes, but I'm thinking now, because a lot of people, if they're looking for training benefits, and they'll see stuff about maybe pre-workouts that'll help them with maybe fat burners, or maybe not even go down that route. But you've got pre-workouts, and there's creatine for people to help them with training. You see all these different things about the benefits. What about on them then, Mark? What do you like your side of things from them? I mean, we're all on the same sort of thing, but from the more science, a little bit more in depth. maybe
Right.
where we are on the things that could be worth taking for certain people, depending on the goals.
Let's have a little 5-minute discussion about where we will lead on to, and we will have a full next on.
I'm glad you said that, Gray, because that was going to be a thing. So I think creatine, I'd say yes, take it, but I need at least half an hour to tell you why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So creatine, we'll just name 3 or 4. So creatine is really, really well researched.
Tick in the box, yeah. Huge amounts of benefits from a mental, physical, performance perspective. That's why we can go on for ages about why it's a good thing to take and dispel some of the myths that sit around creatine. So that's a whole one in itself. Fat burners, that's another one. No is dead simple. Very, very simple about fat burners. What typically happens is people take them, they don't really do a great deal, but they change their habits and behaviors because they're taking fat burners. So this kind of placebo effect. It's not the fat burn per se that's helping you lose weight. It's right, I'm taking a fat burner, so I can't eat these Mars bars that I was once eating because there's no point. Well, the reason why you're losing weight is because you've now got rid of Mars bars from your diet, not because of this diet pill.
Not because you're fat burners.
Yeah.
Caffeine. Let's go caffeine, another big one.
Caffeine. So that's a bit of a grey area because caffeine comes in lots of food. So if you're having a strong cup of coffee, it might have the same level of input as caffeine. Caffeine typically is a really well-researched and great thing to have. Too much caffeine is bad for you.
We know about caffeine.
Yeah. Caffeine for endurance purposes is great. Can help the training. Yes. Has downsides to it. You have to have a lot of caffeine to have the downsides to it, and then it starts to play into sleep, and I don't want to mess around with sleep. So yes, within reason, and there's very little calories in it, so you can take it and you're not adding calories to your diet. So it could be for other reasons for training.
You've got to understand it, haven't you? You can't just start firing caffeine down your neck as and when you please. You've got to understand.
I try not to.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, you've got to understand the dosages, and when to take it and when it's beneficial and when it's not. And like you say, if you're taking it at certain times of day, will that then have more negative effect because it affects your sleep rather than the positives of your.
The thing about caffeine, it's a diuretic, it's going to dehydrate you. So it's not a magic tablet that's going to make you perfectly better, no side costs. If you have caffeine, you are going to lose body water. That's generally not a good thing. So you'd have to be aware, man, that you're going to become dehydrated if you take lots of caffeine and don't have the water that comes in with it.
Yeah. So next one, the things that let's talk about I think we just talk about the main supplements that we are going to discuss next week. So we'll have a quick 1 minute from you. What about betaalanine?
Very niche one, that one. Betaalanine is it's like a buffer. So if you do like a really hard interval session, you get lactate accumulation. It helps you tolerate more and more lactate. So in theory, you can go for longer in those high intense sessions. So you might burn a few more calories or travel a little bit further if you're doing like a distance-based workout, or go a little bit faster. So it has some performance benefits in it. You might tolerate more training or do a few more reps in the gym that if you hadn't done it. You do get a skin crawl with that. So a lot of people don't like it because of this weird skin kind of sensation you get when
itchy.
The rugby league players tend to like it. Lots of other players just don't like that sensation. So a very niche one, that one. I wouldn't say that many people should be kind of going near that, really. There's no real downside to it.
Yeah, we can talk about it more again next week, can't we? On next episode, which probably are we going to feed onto this next week? Are we going to continue this one straight away? Yeah, like I said, probably more sports related in it.
Yes,
we will discuss that for more from a sports person's point of view rather than the average person coming to do a normal training session.
Yeah. I think that's enough for what we.
It probably is. Really,
we don't need to talk about other things. Really. I suppose we can touch on pre-workouts, can't we?
Yeah, pre-workout. So you mentioned two things there: betaalanine and caffeine.
Which are in caffeine.
And there will be creatine. So a pre-workout will typically have a mix of all those three things. You might see things like what's the other kind of stimulant you might get? The name evades me. I'll come back to that one. Taurine. Taurine. You sometimes see taurine in it. So basically, they're stimulants and like a lactic acid buffer in there, and there's some creatine. And the idea is that you avoid fatigue for longer. You can do a little bit more during your training session. Again, for most people who aren't in the performance world, how important is what you do during the training session, like getting that extra 2, 3, 4, 5%. That's all we're talking about. It's not going to make you twice as fit as you were before. An extra 5% from your training session. If you're not performance orientated and judged for selection on what you do in training, do you really need that extra 5%? Is it worth the cost? Probably not for most people.
No.
Sound. And then one more I think we need to discuss as well. We've got it out here, Matt. Is one maybe not from a performance enhancing point, like help people train. ZMA worth talking about quickly. The magnesium, zinc. I know it's a multivitamin basically in it, but I think it's specifically I think it's another popular one that will be out there.
Yeah.
So we need to discuss it a little bit next week further, a bit deeper, I think.
Very quickly, it's what we call one of those adaptogens where you would typically take at night, and it's a series of micronutrients that promotes recovery and slightly deeper sleep and weird ass dreams.
Yeah.
You dream like strange on ZMA.
I dream strange full stop.
That's a whole new episode right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll do one on our weird dreams because they are crazy.
Yeah, I do dream some.
I have crocodiles that come chasing me out of the water and everything running down the street. I'm jumping on garages to escape from them. I start dreams like I'm 6. Right, so Von especially, but anybody else listening, I hope that has just touched upon and given you a bit of an insight into maybe some yeses and nos. Like what have you heard out? What have you heard about? What have you heard that you should be? Basically, if you've heard that you should be taking anything else that we've mentioned there, it's not. It's rubbish. Basically, it's not. But there is.
There is one topic that we haven't really covered that we might get into next time is the mass gainers.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are in the protein category, but for me, they're not a protein supplement. They have protein in them, but they have like 1,100 calories and 30 grams of protein. So it's actually like 10% protein or something silly. So it's not a protein supplement for me. So that could be why you would take a mass gainer and why you definitely shouldn't, and more so the
I'm going to say I don't think we've got one person who comes to this gym taking that.
Eddie Hall might get away with it if you're 150 kilos. That's about it.
Yeah, spot on. So hopefully that's opened your eyes a little bit. Maybe it's just giving you a bit of an insight as to what's real, what's actually worth taking, and what's not worth taking.
Just quickly though, on that, if I were doing spin sessions twice a day, I'd be on mass gainers.
You'll burn some serious calories.
I joined in on spin session last night.
Electrolytes, if you're on spin twice a day, electrolytes is what you need.
Yeah, that's what's made us decide we are not going to be our spin instructors. We can't be doing spin sessions every day. There'll be no left of us.
I don't want to look like a bamboo cane.
You need a pre-workout just to maintain the enthusiasm, don't you?
Yeah, you would. You definitely would. Yeah. Right, go on, Ellen. Finish off for us.
So it's already done. Thanks, right? We've got that pre-recorded, so that'll be at the end.
Oh, nice. We're getting there now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Awesome. Right, brilliant. So thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. We will continue the talk on supplements next week. So see you all soon.
See you next week.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers, Elm. See you, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked the episode, we'd like you to share with us that on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter. You can listen again on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a rating and a review, and any comments would be more than appreciated. And hopefully you'll tune back next time for our next episode.
The Yorkshire Fitness Podcast.